Look how full coverage that is. I mean, there's not really anything fucking natural about this look, but it looks like I've come back from a Charlie XCX concert. Don't you see? It makes me feel amazing. I reckon we just get going, to be honest. My water is almost empty, so I'm gonna have to fill that up at some point. You probably won't see me do that because that's not fun content to watch. Today, I'm gonna be painting myself purple because I want to, but I'm also gonna explain why I want to throughout the video. I've also just got a new camera, so I hope this lighting setup's good. This is me testing it out. I'm wearing my makeup vest. As you can see, there's probably stains of other makeup looks I've done on it. I'm going to take out jewelry actually. Actually, before that, please do all the YouTubery things. Like, comment, subscribe. My name's Ruben, and I make videos where I make stuff, I yap, and I just have a good time. And I hope that you do too. So, if you want to join me on that journey, please come and support me. But yeah, let's get going. I'm gonna be doing both my face and my body. And I have this aqua color soft cream. This is fucking fantastic for doing your whole body. However, I don't have the same shade in a grease paint for my face. So I'm gonna have to mix red and blue to then create that same shade. So we're gonna do that first. This shade here is what we're going for. These are Mayron grease paints. Both Mayron and Krylon do really, really good grease paints. So if you're gonna do a look where you're changing your skin color, go for one of them. First got some blue, then got some red. It's a bit cooler, so I reckon a bit more blue than red is needed. But then as well, we're gonna do a bit of white, which currently has green on it, because I've just done a green look. This is a Krylon TV paint stick. These are the absolute best for changing this color of your skin. However, annoyingly, they don't do every single shade. Krylon, if you're watching this, just do every single shade. I'll buy every single one. I don't have to mix them on this little palette. So I'm mixing together Krylon and Mayron. I feel like they're like enemies. Hopefully this isn't sacrilegious. Okay, so it's not like a gorgeous shade. It definitely just needs more white. But I feel like a little painter. Bob Ross, Ruben Bob Ross. And there we have it. They're pretty much the same now. Time to fit on my face. But first, actually, very, 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 very important step. You wanna get a primer. This is the Krylon HD Micro Primer. It's fab. Putting a lot on my finger. Just gonna rub that all the way in. Makes your skin feel like really silky, but like dry, but not in a dehydrated way. Just in a way that makeup will just sit on it perfectly. I'm gonna take off my earrings now as well, because my skin's about to get purple. And I'll have my jewelry. I have my beauty blenders. They already have purple on them from last time I did purple makeup. They are clean. They just stain a little bit. Gonna get the purple on the beauty blender, and then look how full coverage that is. That's crazy. Ooh, there's a little bit of white in that that's not been mixed in properly. That's not it. If you are new here, which you almost definitely are, because I've made about 4 videos and have about 200 subscribers, I love making outfits. I love making looks. I love making stuff. I love doing makeup. And I love basically turning myself into some kind of hot fantasy character, but in a fashionable and glamorous way. And if I really break that down, that's kind of always been what my interests have focused around. When I was a kid, I loved dress up, as probably like most little gay boys did. Like, I did used to do like girly dress up and stuff like that, but my favorite kind of dress up was always the aliens. On character selection screens in video games, in shows, I was always attracted to the aliens. Like, my favorite character from any film of my whole life is Darth Maul from Star Wars. Literally, he's like the epitome for me. And also, keep your eyes peeled for that, because I'm gonna do a video of him for National Star Wars Day. National, international, intergalactic. Intergalactic. I'm basically gonna cover it down to about the midpoint of my neck, because that's where I'll blend in the body paint. But I want to be able to contour my neck, the same paint that I'm contouring with my face. I'm getting it into my hair as well. Right now it's over the hair, but in a bit I'm gonna do a step which completely covers that up. So it looks like the skin underneath is purple instead. All right, I've now covered my face in a pretty even layer. It's not perfect. For the sake of this video, I'm not really gonna be focusing on the back of me for the more of like front visual of stuff. I sometimes do my whole body. I sometimes just do the front, depending on the look that I'm turning, but this is a YouTube video, so you're only gonna see my front. Well, I'll probably show you at the end of the back. And then you'll be like, oh, he's not actually an alien, he's a human. But now we're basically just gonna define some bits to bring them further forwards. In other words, highlighting. I've just got the white TV paint stick again, and I'm gonna put the white on the high places, and then we're gonna blend that out. Depending on if you're wanting to look more mask or femme, you'll change where you put the light bits. I like looking a bit more mask, but also like in a kind of pretty way. Okay, so now I've put the white on all the bits that I wanna highlight and bring out. So I put on a lot of bone structure. Cheekbones are being brought out, the front of the face is being brought out a bit, jawline's being brought out, chin, brow bones, all that kind of stuff. And then it's just tap, 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 until it looks all natural. I mean, there's not really anything fucking natural about this look, but you get what I mean. But yeah, as I was talking about earlier, it was always the aliens. It was always the non-human characters for me. I loved it. And I think in hindsight, there's a few different things that brought me to that. I think that knowing that I was different in being queer, I also grew up in Norway and I was one of the only brown kids there. And I also had a British dad. I was always just like kind of the different one. I was very, very lucky with the people I had there. In fact, my best friend from there is half Norwegian, half Moroccan. And therefore I was able to, someone who I kind of had that solidarity with, and we're still very, very close to this day, even though we've not lived in the same country for about 15 years. That's crazy to say. Highlighted and blended out. As you can see, it's already becoming a bit more sculptural. However, there's still so much to do. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna set it before we start doing all the contouring stuff on. And to set it, powder. I don't actually have the box here, but I use Krylon powder. It's like invisible. It's great. Then we just press powder into place. I'm actually not gonna talk during this process because I'm gonna get clown lung. Okay, now that it looks like I've come back from a Charlie XCX concert, I'm gonna wipe all of this off. Not wipe, but brush it off. Gonna get like a big, loose surface head brush like this. And just go. This also pushes it into place of all the places that I didn't quite get it in before. The powder sets it in place so the makeup underneath now can't move. Basically dries it all. I normally paint myself green. Is the most common color I do, and then I do a bit of red as well. But purple is fun. I just had a hankering to paint myself purple, and here we are today. Full disclosure, I tried to film this video the other day and I forgot to put on primer, and at this stage my makeup got so patchy, so I stopped filming it. I'm not gonna release those outtakes. Maybe I will, if you really want them, but I don't think you do, because I look like a fucking mess. But now I look much more clean and proportionized. That is the wrong word, but you get my sentiment. The next step is contouring. You wanna get a dark color of the same color you're using. So for me, I'm gonna use this purple here. This is a Color Revolution palette I got in Boots a few years ago. Honestly, it just does what it needs to do for me when I do these. I don't really use it for eyeshadow, I just use it for contouring and highlighting when I'm doing crazy makeup looks like this. Getting quite a lot on a rounded brush like this and contour. Basically putting quite a bit on all the bits I want to be a bit more sunken in. So for me, it's under the cheekbones. Do it around, what's this area called? The temple. Under the jaw, into the neck, and a bit here to highlight the forehead bone. Funny that I contour my forehead, and then also just put my fringe over it. Who's winning in that scenario? Anyway, then we're just gonna blend all of that out. Blend, 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 blend. Honestly, I used to do really, really structured makeup looks that were like really geometric and had sharp lines and stuff, which do look kind of cool. However, if you move your face at all, the whole illusion's ruined. But don't worry, you're still gonna be angular as fuck if you're following any of this by the end of it. I'm now just gonna take a thinner brush and go around the eye area. Gonna do a bit in the hood, a bit on the inside here. That kind of masculinizes your face a bit. And then a bit down the nose to do some early nose contouring. And just like before, blend the fuck out of that. I'm gonna be doing some eyeshadow in a bit, but this is really just to contour the bone structure of it all. Contouring is done, it's now time to highlight. I have two stages of highlight, one to just bring the bones out and then one to like really, really accentuate details. First of all, we're gonna use white. There's not very much white of this left, but this is what we wanna use. This is a Krylon eyeshadow palette. These are just the ones that I use for this, black, silver, and white. They're fab, and you can customize which ones you want. They also smell really nice. I'm not really a scented girl for products, but I always feel like once I smell this one, I'm like, it's happening. And yeah, cheekbones, nose, upper lip, jawline, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, as I was saying, I was big into dressing up and expressing myself in a kind of otherworldly way when I was a kid. Now, when I moved to England, that's when the shift kind of happened. I moved back here when I was 9, and you know what, to be honest with you, England's just a bit more of a judgmental place than Norway was in that way. Norway, I think I was very, very lucky to have a very liberal, Steiner school, unjudgmental way of living. And here, I suddenly learned that some things were weird, and a lot of those categories were things that I fit into. So I really, really held a lot of shit back for a lot of years. I would come home from school, I'd play on my DS and I'd watch Drag Race, but at school I would just try my best to fit in. I feel like any of my friends from that era will be like, Ruben, you did not do a very good job of that, you're a fucking wacko. But you know what? I convinced myself that I was doing a good job at it. But yeah, I was always just so drawn to like sci-fi, drag, these otherworldly things, and it just wouldn't really stop. And I think that it just made me feel more and more different, which probably accentuated more and more my need and desire to eventually express myself in this way. I always loved the monster queens, you know? I always loved the arty queens. I loved the Sasha Velours, I loved the Milks, I loved the Nina Benina Browns, I loved Dragula. I remember when Dragula came out, I literally like, it changed my whole life and my whole worldview, everything. Boulets, if you're watching this, hit me up. at the core of it, it was never really about dressing up like a woman. I thought I wanted to be a drag queen, and I always kind of had this dream before I really got back into this kind of stuff. I was always like, oh, I'll become a drag queen one day. And the point when I got back into it all, it was funny. I held back on my arty side for so long. I dropped art for A-levels. I did English, economics, and geography. Like very academic things. I wanted to go do economics at uni, And then I was like, you know what? I fucking hate that. I actually really enjoyed economics, but I didn't want to live my life like that. So I applied for Art Foundation in year 13, even though I wasn't doing art A-level, and I basically spent my whole free time making stuff. Actually, the main thing I made for my portfolio was these dolls, which I transformed into drag queens. This is IO Exponent, this is Carmen Catastrophe, and this is OP Dystopia. This one's actually from a Ken doll. The other ones are from Barbie dolls. But you know, AFAB queens, very valid. But I remember when I did that, I was kind of like, oh, I've like reached my creative journey. Like I'm doing all the creative stuff now. But then I studied product and furniture design, which is a great degree. It taught me how to make a lot of stuff. I'm really, really grateful for that. But it still wasn't expressive enough. And I was just had such a desire to push the boat out a bit more. At this time, I was getting so obsessed with the club kids. Like I was getting to know loads about the club kids of the 80s, being like James St. James, Michael Alig, problematic queen, but you know, whilst also the more modern ones like Charity Case, Anthropomorph, Salvia, Austin James Smith, like all these people that I was just so obsessed with. And then COVID hit, and I just had a lot of time to myself, and I'd done a very good job of proving myself as normal socially. Then I was suddenly just faced with myself and no one else and nothing else. And that was quite a big moment of like, what do I want to do? And I was working on building sites to earn money at this point, doing laboring. I remember like liking it because it kind of felt like I was doing this performance of masculinity. And I actually I really valued and enjoyed a lot of my time there and the people that I met doing that kind of stuff. But I was doing uni and I was doing that as well. And I came home one day and I had all this makeup from when I was a kid. Like this stage makeup that my mum had bought. It was actually all Krylon stuff. And I was like, let me just give it a go. Let me just try. My first makeup looks were Bastiana Dupree, as you can imagine, but they were so much fun to do. I remember the first night I did a black and white one and I did a black and red one. I will at some point post them. Hopefully you'll want to see that. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But that week, I remember every day I worked at the building site, I came back and I do makeup looks in my room. And I remember one of the builders was like, why have you got red in your hair? Like one of the days, because I was doing painting my face red, all this kind of stuff. And it was literally just a week of doing it, but it really changed my perspective on everything. And over the next few months, I got so into it. It was when Drag Race UK season 2 was coming out and when Drag Race season 13 was coming out. And honestly, the combination of seeing Gottmik, Tace, and Bimini on my screen every week completely just made me go I need to do this. I need to put myself out there. I had an era where I thought I was gonna become a femme queen. That didn't happen. I remember just looking in the mirror being like, it's just not me. I don't feel invigorated by that. And that's when I decided I need to focus on this for a little bit. And luckily at that point, I was in second year and I was offered to do a year abroad. And I took it and I went to Berlin and I worked at an amazing fashion studio, Zau, very, very queer, very, very expressive. And I was able to immerse myself in club culture there. And I think that was really a moment where I could just do me and be me. I didn't really post a lot of stuff that I did then, but I was doing looks and all that kind of stuff, and it fed my soul in that moment. It went down a bit of a dark path because Berlin clubs are a bit of a hole that you can get lost into, and I definitely got lost into that hole, and I definitely needed to come back to the UK and recenter myself, but it did amazing things for me at the time when I needed it. Anyway, we're now going to do the second stage of highlighting. I have this Rimmel eyeshadow palette, which looks Bastiana Dupree. However, I bought it a few years ago, and I don't know what it is. I've tried a few different highlights and shimmers since, but this pure white one here is the best thing I've found for highlighting my face. I just get a bit on my ring finger. Gottmik actually taught me, not personally, but watching their videos, that this is the finger that has the lightest touch, and therefore it's really, really good for putting the final bits of highlighter on. So if Gottmik can do it, anyone can. No, not the other way. Basically, it's just great advice. I like starting just above the Cupid's bow. Oh, this is just the stage that's oh, this is, somebody is coming out of this. Bit on the chin, bit on the tip of the nose. And a bit just along the ridge in the middle of the nose. Oh, don't you see? Along the jawline here. Oh, and then on the cheeks. I kind of try to do a combination of bringing them up and out, my cheekbones. So just a bit about here, rub that in. Cheekbones get a bit more than other areas because I love to focus on the cheekbones. Can bring it down a little bit like this, and then a bit above brows, on the brow bone. Oh, I love that. Now, it still looks a little bit flat and a little bit weird. However, The next stage, I think, is kind of where it really like finds its place. I have this brush and I dip it in the black, put a little dot on. I've actually already done this one, so spoilers. But I've got incredibly hooded eyes, so I actually have to fill in quite a lot of space. Basically just blend this out like this. If you've got hooded eyes like me, you want to bring it up quite high. Basically just like filling in this area for me, because I've got hooded as fuck eyes. See, having hooded eyes isn't a downside, you just gotta learn how to work with them. Bring it a bit out onto the eyelid. I don't do the whole eyelid. I used to highlight the inner corner, which I don't really do anymore. It gives a bit more feminine, a bit more like done up, and I quite like this look because it's a bit natural. Or as natural as you can get painting yourself purple. Then when that's blended out, I just put a little bit in the corner of this eye again, and I put a bit on the waterline. You can use eyeliner for this. I honestly just like, prefer to keep it on as one product. Easier. Doesn't that make such a difference? Anyway, then getting a flat tip brush like this, get some more of that darker purple color, or whatever color you're using. Go along just the inside of your lip line. And then, clear lip gloss. Krylon High Gloss is what I'm using here. It's a little bit sparkly, but it's basically just clear. This is just a tip that you can turn any eyeshadow color into lip gloss. I'm not trying to do like a special lip look here. I'm just trying to make my lips a bit darker than the rest and give them a bit more definition. You can do a dramatic lip look if you want. It's not really my tea, personally. And look at that. Like, I'm basically done with the face now. I'm gonna do a tiny bit more highlight in just a few areas, like tip of the nose, cupid's bow, and cheekbones. So final step of the face, you now want to blend in your hair, is basically the tea. Taking a bit of this black eyeshadow, I'm just putting it on a brow brush. And I'm basically just using that to fill in bits that are now gone purple. Also, like a heavier, bigger brow masculinizes you if you're trying to go for the like boy thing. This really brings everything together. Like, that's the thing, those final little points of darkness and lightness are really the thing that like brings it together. So like the brows, the eyes, and the lips, and the highlight. In fact, I might add a little bit of black into the lips. They're a bit light around the corners. Just a tiny bit though. There we are. Finally, I'm just gonna get some black, put it onto my finger, put it over the hair. That blends in with the rest of the hair and basically just means that there's purple underneath, like the skin is purple, but the actual hair itself is black. The thing is, like, when you realize that makeup is just paint and your face is just a canvas, it's not like one specific product has to be used for one specific thing. Eyeshadow is just powdered different colors. You can put it anywhere you want. And just like that, the face is done. But we're not stopping there. We're gonna move on to the body next. Yeah, I've moved the camera a bit to have a better position, but now moving on to the body, I'm gonna make sure my face touches this as little as possible when I get it off. Okay, this stage is crazy, but it's also so much fun. You need to like pay close attention to this bit. This Aqua Color Soft Cream by Krylon is insanity. Put a bit on your hands like this, or a lot, you know, how much you need. Quite a lot because you're doing your body. Rub it in your hands a little bit like this. Take off your jewelry, and look at this. Whole body done. Not body, arm. And look how far that tiny little bit went. Ah! Crazy, crazy, crazy vibes. Now I look like this. But I'm gonna wash off my hands so I can still use them when I'm contouring stuff. And then I'm gonna get on with contouring. Literally, just water, it's all gone. So if you sweat, it comes off unless you use really good setting spray, which I'll show you in a bit. Anyway, so the process with doing the body is pretty much the same as the process of doing the face. I'm gonna use my dark purple and contour all the dark parts. Underneath the chest, on the abs. This is also great because you can basically make yourself look way more hinged than you actually are. Which is probably why I love doing this at the end of the day. But yeah, to continue what I was talking about earlier, when I then came back to the UK, I had a bit of a recentering moment, but I basically realized that this kind of stuff is what I live for. I've kind of come to a summative point of all of these things of interest, and it's like, I love doing this because it's one, taking agency over how I look and how I exist in the world, which is just such a fun thing to do, and I think that everyone should do that, and I guess everyone does do that in their own way, and this is my way of doing that. But also, it's really, really being communicative about who I am and what I like. It's putting what's on the inside and putting it on the outside, and ultimately, that is what self-expression is. Oh, I just love doing this. This makes me feel amazing. Also, the mad thing about all of this is it actually doesn't take that long. I took about an hour on the face and the body's about half an hour. Anyway, as you can see right now, the tones between the face and the body are very different. That's because the face has a lot more white on it. So the main thing we have to do now is just add in a lot of that white onto the body. So I'm gonna get some of that white eyeshadow that I was using earlier and basically just start contouring with it. I normally start on the chest. The chest is the hardest bit, also because I've got chest hair. The makeup just gets caught in it. So I add a bit onto this and it's normally the last thing I do as well. Done some abs. I'm gonna go in a bit more and just like even out a bit, but just to show you guys, doing the bicep. As you can see, it's all coming together. And then onto places like the collarbones and joining the neck in with the body. Oh, I love this. It's really working itself out. Anyway, I'm gonna add on the rest of the white onto the body and then I'm gonna show you how it looks in the end. I'm now almost done with the body. No, don't want to get purple over my clothes. Basically what I have left to do is two things. I want to do the final bits of highlighting like I did with my face, and I need to do my nipples as well. Hilarious. Let's start with nipples, why don't we? So I'm just gonna get a bit of that dark purple and I'm just going to cover this area. God, I don't know if I ever really thought that I was gonna spend my life contouring my nipples, but honestly, no complaints. Next, gonna get some of that white and go onto the actual bit of the nipple itself. Boom. That is a bit much right now, but then just blend that in a bit. And there we are. Then we're gonna go back to this cheap ass eyeshadow palette that I have that just is amazing. And I'm gonna do just a few points. Add a bit of extra shimmer. The bicep, the tricep, a bit of the forearm, a bit of the shoulder, along each ab. This is just that, once again, like with the face, it's that final thing that just brings everything out. Look at that! Ah! V-line, collarbone, into the neck bone, Adam's apple, because I'm a man! A bit on the chest, but the chest is hard because the hair just absorbs all of it straight away, and obviously don't want to get around the nipples yet, but just a bit along the outline. Oh, I'm getting so happy with this! God, it really makes, when I do cool tone makeup, it really makes my teeth look very yellow. It makes me a bit self-conscious. Now, as a final step, just gonna get some more of this paint, which is now completely purple on the outside, and rub it around my hands, basically. Getting it into all of the little creaks and crevices. I will actually say, I normally get them in the big pumps, not in the little tubes, and the little tube seems to be a bit drier than the big pump. So if you want it to be a little bit easier, get the big pump. It dries on my hands much quicker, which isn't really what I want. I need time, baby girl. If I could go back in time, I would literally do this on my yearbook photo. Instead, I looked like a fucking heterosexual. My yearbook quote in in year 11 was, don't follow your dreams because you can't all have me. Oh, God. And then my year 13 one was, any hole is a goal, quoted by Melania Trump, because it was a Drag Race reference because season 10 was coming out at the time. Also, I was bisexual. So I was like, any hole is a goal, haha. Needless to say, homosexual, not bisexual. But anyway, then I'm just gonna add a bit of that white onto my hands. This is just to make it match with the rest of my skin. And a tiny bit of the dark purple onto the nail tips, just so they don't look the exact same shade as my fingers. But I'm gonna change out of these trousers because they are mucky as hell, and I'll see you in just a sec. I'm finally gonna put a tiny bit of fixing spray. Actually not a tiny bit, a little bit. Oh, this tube's almost running out. Brown fixing spray for this kind of makeup, this is the go. Come on. I challenge anyone to give me a setting spray that's better than this. But there we have it. I feel fucking gorgeous right now. Not me painting myself purple all over them. Don't look at the back, obviously, but I feel fucking gorgeous. I feel amazing. And you know what, that's the final reason. I just feel amazing when I wear this. You didn't see the back. Whatever you want to call this, sexy boy Ursula, or just Ruben in his bedroom painting himself purple at 2 PM on a Monday. I love it. Now my plan is to basically go take loads of selfies in my room with this makeup. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I had such a fun time filming it, and I had such a fun time hanging out with you. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube interactive things. I'm really having a good time making videos like this, and I really want to grow this channel, and I really want to make more videos like this for you to enjoy. And I hope that you enjoyed me doing my creative craziness, because that is where I'm at my best. At least that's where I have the most fun. And that's what's important. That's what everyone should be doing. And if you're into purple sexy boys, subscribe for more videos like this. Anyway, I've got some making videos coming out soon. As I said earlier, I've got a fashionified Darth Maul look, which I'm going to be showing on May the 4th. So keep an eye out for that. And even if you don't know who the fuck Darth Maul is, you'll have a great time looking at the video because it's a cool video, it's a cool making process, and the outfit itself is just banging. I wear it all the time. But I have some other making videos coming out soon. In a very, very short amount of time, there's going to be some huge, exciting announcements of projects that I've been working on. So I can't wait for you all to see them. But yeah, I hope you got some good insight into why I do the things that I do. And the fact there's going to be much more to come. Anyways, in a bit, babes. I have on my phone the video footage right now. So now it's just yourself, probably. I don't know. I'm interested to see what this footage is going to be. Anyway. Gagarini, Gagatrondra, Lady Gaga.